Recording.
It's our where is it?
Hey everybody, this is Bill. This is the conversation. The chat between two people.
Come on, that's the worst intro.
There's going to be no phones, no internet, just two people talking. Imagine two people meet on a bus stop, two people meet at a gas station. A conversation. No fact checking. No nonsense. Just a conversation.
Mostly nonsense though.
Probably some nonsense. So let's get into it. I'm here today with my friend Mike Valento. Mike,
how you guys doing? Which camera's on here?
this camera's on you.
You're editing.
This one's on me. I'll do my
this
best
one's
to.
on me?
Yep, you get your
All
own camera.
How you
I'll
guys
do
doing
my
with
best to edit it all together into one cohesive mess. But yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your videos, Bill.
Welcome to the Bleak Ride Studio.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for tolerating me.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want to bitch about?
How long?
Today?
Let's start with some simple stuff. How long have we known each other? Can we figure that out?
It's been a long time. What?
When did we meet? It would have been 2000.
Right after I met Garth.
17? No,
I think
older
it was
than
earlier
that.
I'd say it's been 10 years at least.
10 years.
At least.
What was your impression of me when you first met me? We met through Garth, our friend Garth.
Yeah, you were friends with Meat Cleaver Boy.
Yep, I was friends with Brad.
So it was kind of, I don't know. Yeah, Bill, you were a little bit more of a eccentric person than me, I think, but
Sure.
maybe just on the outside, anyway. But yeah, I think your testicles have dropped quite a bit.
Oh, that's good for me.
Well, yeah, you've slowed down. I think that's how it works.
I was wound pretty tight as sort of out of my 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
Still coming off of being a drug addict, really
Living on the
edgy,
edge.
counterculture, rebellious guy. My friend carried a meat cleaver wherever he went. Looked
Yeah.
like some bad dudes.
And now, your balls probably drag on the ground. And, you live a easier.
I live a pretty normal old man,
nice
convex,
calm life, predictable.
I'm more convex than I remember.
Yeah, me and Garth used to argue about that. I think that's what happens. I think guys don't really mature. It's just gravity pulls their balls
I really
away from
feel
their
like,
body.
I didn't wake up to my adulthood until like age 31. I was still so caught up in the nonsense of being a drug addict, living this other life. People didn't understand me. I was a victim. This whole nonsense mentality. And I'm saying for me, not as a rule for anybody else, but just for me, it was nonsense.
Do you feel like an adult?
Each day, a little more.
You do?
Yeah.
Because I still feel like
Every bill I pay, every problem I solve with just my wits.
I think I've just become a responsible kid.
A responsible kid? That's interesting.
Because I still love going to the arcade. I still love, doing, like, playing games and, like, the kids do. And then, I don't feel like my conscious being hasn't aged. Like, I don't, I see that my body's getting some miles on it, but, inside I don't feel. Do you feel?
No, I only feel it in my body.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm probably 14, 16 years old, racing my friends on foot to see who's fastest.
Don't try it, because it's not the same.
It's not. No, I wouldn't try to run past the house next door.
Yeah, I tried that with softball.
Yeah.
Like, and when I was in high school, you ground ball hit, and I could get one, over second base. I had good range. When I got a ground ball hit to me in softball, mentally, I went to that, just like I was in high school. But physically, I'm both my quads popped. I think I came out of one of my shoes. It was a reality check.
I grew up skateboarding, like 12 to
Did you wear those
24.
baggy pants?
I did. I wore some Jinkos.
With the
when I was
chain?
in high school, oh man, that was the thing. If you didn't have Jinkos on, you weren't.
I didn't. I had, one of the sweaters around my neck.
Did you?
No, it wasn't that bad.
I would say we come from sort of different backgrounds. I came from the East Side school of troubled, wild ones.
I was unknowingly white privileged. I know now, but we lived
pretty middle class or upper class lifestyle culture.
Yeah, like middle class. I played hockey, and that's You know, anybody who knows hockey,
It was interesting. Me and my brother were both hellions. He was out of the house by 16, and I stuck around to torment my mom till, I was well into my 20s. On and off, just going and living on friends' couches or whatever. But the normal sort of broken childhood. I had a wonderful mother. Pretty, just this normalest, safest upbringing. But a lot of time on my hands. She had to work all the time. I only had my dad on every other weekend or some summers. A lot of time to just go off and do dumb shit, knuckleheaded shit I probably should have died from.
Yeah, but you didn't, and it's made you who you are today.
Well, it definitely left an effect.
Yeah.
Every day is different. Every day you got to push a little more forward on. You don't stop evolving. In my opinion, you continue to evolve all through your life.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like I was talking to Mark last night and about kind of how I lived my life differently. I'm not like my high school buddies. If there was an opportunity to do something wrong, or I usually did, made the wrong decision and suffered from it, and it sucked. But I don't think there's gonna, when I die, if there's that gate opportunity where you look back on your life, I don't think there's gonna be many milestones in my life where I'm gonna be like, fuck, man, I didn't do that. Why didn't I do that? Why did I just stay in my, I lived my life. And I think that's what we're supposed to do. Unfortunately, it did come with some, oftentimes I made bad decisions, but, I think it's made me who I am. And that's how I rationalize it anyway. Because I think, most people, I don't think they really live anymore. They just kind of exist.
Yeah, I would really relate to that statement.
Yeah, I won't drive a motorcycle.
I know you won't ride a motorcycle. For me, it opened something new up, something I realized I was missing.
I agree. I probably would. Me too. I'd probably love it, and that's why part of the reason I stay off.
We're all looking for our appropriate family. I don't mean in the blood sense, but in the sort of mind space sense, we're all always looking for our appropriate family. And for a time, I thought my family was this group of drug addicts, and that my real family were just sort of very religious, very tightly bound, and
religious.
Your
mom's not religious.
Yes, she is.
She is?
Oh, yeah. We were raised open Bible Christian, and
God,
I
really?
rebelled against it right away. There was a lot of sort of be subservient to your husband and stuff. I had a single mom trying to raise me.
But now, the Bible, like all the Jeremiah or all those guys, they had like multiple wives. They had more than one wife.
Yeah, I don't know what the right answer for people is. I just didn't feel like I was getting the right answer from them either.
Well, yeah.
So I didn't want to be a part of it. And my family, my mom's side, are very religious. I think my dad, his side might be as well. I've never spent too much time thinking about it.
I know how it goes. I was raised Catholic. I went to two of the most Catholic schools in Minnesota, and Nativity of Our Lord and St. Agnes. Church twice a week, once in English, once in Latin. I was an altar boy. We had religion class for every day for 45 minutes. We prayed the rosary every morning at Nativity, like Catholic. I've read the Bible backwards, forwards, and so I think I think I'm educated enough to know to say that, because I make some pretty wild accusation, or I think the Bible's hoopla. I think ultimately the stories are true, but Jesus, the sun dies in the sky. It's humans were star people. We didn't always have TVs. We looked at the stars for 12 hours a day. Remember?
Yeah.
Stories. Look at the constellations. There's like Orion.
What is it? Anthropomorphization.
Yep. And it's not far fetched to think that they didn't just make names and figures, but they told stories about that stuff. And they did that because it was very important to follow the stars, because it's the seasons, and that's how you grow your crops.
There's been studies done about this where anthropomorphization, where we put the face, the entity behind something we're looking at or trying to explain. They even do it. It's been figured out enough that car companies will orientate headlights and a bumper to appear like a smile. The car seems
Yep.
friendlier. You want to buy it. You have a good feeling about the purchase. There's a lot of mental stuff that goes behind sort of that concept, and that they're doing studies on the people at large in the
Oh yeah.
clinical world.
Yeah, it's hard for me to you just watch people, that's why I say I'm sorry for, your upbringing. Like, you also suffered. I wasn't given not a chance. No, like, there was no, like, you don't have to believe in this thing. Like, you hear there's other opportunities if you so choose.
I had a '70s parent, and she was very different from her sisters, who were sort of very conservative in their thinking,
Yeah.
in their lifestyle. She had been to some clubs. She
Yeah,
had
I
been
suppose your mom. Yeah, I can see
out
that.
and about, and so she was very like, well, do you want to go to church? Like, I think it's good for us, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to force you. She was much more open-minded, or sort of that parent style of, like,
Open-minded is probably a way to describe it.
yeah.
That's what Americans are. 100% closed-minded. I mean, there's like, yeah, we've created words like coincidence and luck, and we don't have to get into that, but it's just those are just masking words for what's really going on. I mean, we're probably the dumbest species on the planet.
Yeah, we do some pretty horrible stuff.
Any species that deems itself the most intelligent species in the universe is by far the dumbest species in the universe. Look at a shark. It's been swimming in the ocean for hundreds of thousands of years. It has lines on its body that it can sense a fish the size of a minnow flapping from 1.5 miles away. Like, I'm sorry, but that thing is little. It has evolved far longer. We've been around for 180,000 years. A shark? That's nothing. Sharks been around for millions of years. we think we got it going on more than them. Fuck that. That's the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. Just because they don't use forks and knives, they have evolved in their environment beyond where we're at. I mean, look at ants. Look at the way they run their colonies.
They're a part of nature, super efficient.
Yeah.
If we find some way to delete ourselves off this planet, they're one of the things that will remain, that could fight for global dominance later.
Well, was I telling you about the meat? Like, if you want to know the best cuts on an animal,
Yeah.
you just let the mouse show you.
Where the animals eat at it.
Like, a mouse has
First.
been living. It's been evolving for so long that it inherently knows which cuts of meat to eat first, which is going to give it the most gain as far as nutrition and fatty, like, that they need to survive. So they will systematically eat the animal. So they'll eat the back straps. They'll eat, like,
That's wild.
the lip. I guess that's got a lot of nutrients in it. And so if you ever want to know the best parts on an animal, you just need to let the mice show you. And because they are so smart that they will eat this thing based on what's going to give them the most energy. And humans, we find a carcass and we just we don't. There's not even really that thought. And but we're the smartest animal in this universe. It's
Well, I guess it's how you're judging intelligence, and intelligence is one of those things. Make sure you close that paint up.
yeah, I know.
Intelligence.
This is way too runny anyway.
Well, that's contrast color, buddy. That's not.
Yeah, that's not box painting.
Yeah.
Paint.
Yeah, I've watched a fair bit of psychology videos on YouTube, which makes me not an expert at all. And in those videos, they often talk about intelligence and quantifying intelligence, and how it's something you're born with, and highly intelligent people
Should be breeding with other highly intelligent people, and
well, I'd say that they were born with that.
yeah, absolutely.
All the rest of us, I think, have to strive for mediocrity, and it has to be very tough for smart people to deal with.
Well, it's
all the people on the planet.
It's I've contemplated suicide has been put on the table before, Bill. Like, that's how bad it is. It's people, and it's not their fault per se. It's just we've allowed things to happen that we shouldn't have.
I think we have to be really careful and conversating about suicide.
Oh yeah, we need to mention like a suicide hotline and stuff. No.
Well, suicide prevention is available to anybody having those kind of thoughts, and
Yeah,
I'll
'cause
probably
it's-
link
don't
that
ever do that.
number down
Worst
in the
thing you could ever
description.
do is take your life.
We also have to be careful. I should have told you some of this beforehand.
Look, he's giving me the rundown after we start recording.
Yeah, just
can I talk
anything involving like coitus or
What the hell's a coitus?
SA or DA or any kind of
yeah.
violence. We got to be real careful because YouTube will strike it.
Well, we don't have anything to talk about then. Oh, I'm just kidding.
The world at large, huh? Yeah, we just got to be real careful how we act in those conversations and not ever.
But yeah, well, to touch at the point is like I know what you mean, and it's quarantine, like living off grid. I've contemplated that just because. Yeah.
I think a lot of people in this country have. There's been a whole culture of people who live in vans and campers and go build cabins in the woods created.
Or why not have a community like that's just people that only you could, you have to vet them in. So in other words, you can have your own little tribe, like a city, and it's only people with IQs above a certain, and then the breeding, that breeding in that city is going to produce most likely, people of higher intelligence than, the gene, what we're doing with right now. And then
I think we're trying love out.
We're so short-sighted. Like humans think we're right here.
I think
about it.
Several
10
times
generations
in history, people have tried selective breeding with some very awful results. And the Great War for Love was won. And now I believe you can love whoever you want.
Yeah, you can. But, I mean, what is love?
Well, for me, it's, it's a lot of positive association. I've had that question asked before. And my first marriage crumbled into, the plane crashed into the mountains. Let's say that. And with Lauren, I noticed things in me were changing for the better. Holidays I used to really associate with my ex-wife began to not sting or have any feeling at all.
Yeah.
And
in
fact,
there was
new memories being created, happy memories.
Yep.
That changed
that you could
my
remember.
whole outlook. That I could remember. Yeah. So the living clean changed. Not doing meth anymore.
Yeah, like sleeping at night was a change.
Sleeping at night was a big change. Yeah. I didn't go full clean living. I'll go have a beer with a friend. We'll play some pool.
Yeah, well, alcohol is by far.
When I travel to places where it's acceptable socially and legally, I'll experiment with marijuana products and nothing really any beyond that. I stay away from powders today because that's where my problems first began, and I think that's where they probably still exist. And so I insulate my life from any kind of thing like that.
Not me. I've never done drugs in my entire life. Totally. I'm a good boy. I'm a church boy.
I enjoyed them too much and was not better for it. But yeah, love sprang out of realizing things were positive in my life. And that was okay. And for a long time, I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. And this just is a testament to how much of a saint my current wife is. Lauren, she put up with me through crazy accusations, through paranoid delusions, through getting clean, and becoming a better person. She put up with me. Now, she was a care worker, and she has more empathy for other humans than I know what to do with. And I know being with her makes me a better person. It does, because I lack that. I'm not super empathetic. I recently, in the past couple of years, started giving some money to charities. Fucking feeling from it's amazing. Just give some bucks to something you care about.
Would you take a vacation with me?
Potentially.
We don't even really need to leave the state, I don't think, anymore. We'll go on a journey. Would you do that?
Yeah, I love journeys.
Would you go on an ayahuasca journey?
Iowa.
Ayahuasca.
I love Iowa.
Would you consider like, you don't know what that is?
No, I may have heard Joe Rogan talk about
yeah.
it.
It's the DMT mixed with something that you so your body can ingest it, and you go on you need a shaman to guide you on your journey.
Do we have a shaman?
It's basically a trip. You're gonna
here in Iowa. That can't be legal.
I think there's
we're gonna have
there's
to go
a loophole
somewhere
or something. But
oh, really?
We might have to go a couple states over, but
I'm not opposed to this, so long as there's some
it's very
prevailing access to an ambulance.
Oh no, you're monitored, and then there's a strict diet like up to your journey. You can't be eating heavy sugars. You can't have alcohol. You can't. If you do, you'll
What's
have a
heavy
bad
sugar?
journey.
I drink a lot of Dr. Pepper.
You'll have to cut that out. I bet. And I think everybody should have to do that, especially our presidents. You know, like if you're going to be president of the United
ayahuasca
States,
journey?
absolutely. They should.
I've had a long-held belief that everyone should experience jail. Maybe not prison, but everyone should experience jail. Like when you turn 18, go to jail for 30 days.
It's humbling.
It was super humbling. Like that's one of those things that was a defining change in my attitude towards society, because I committed a slew of like misdemeanors, and then as a drug addict, like got caught, went to jail, and I disliked being in jail so much that it had the right effect. It was like, I don't ever want to be here again. This is awful. Why did I think that I could be so cavalier with how I handled myself, or how I, interacted in society at large? And
I didn't like jail.
No, but, awful place.
It's a business. I mean, it's the only place you can go and pay $15 for a ramen noodle. I mean, what do they charge you for that? It's soups, ramen noodles. The packs of soups become, they're people murder for soup. Like, it's stupid. On the outs, it's 20 cents for a ramen noodle, but in jail, you throw one of those on the floor and people will fight for it. It's a totally different. And then you learn how to be thrifty. Like, you tape. If you want to hang your pictures, you got to be crafty. So you take your labels off of like your old deodorant and roll it up, and you can use that as tape.
Hold a picture up.
The shower head is really like mists, but if you take your old toothpaste tube and put it on the shower thing, it will give you like more of a jet. And it's like these kind of, you call them
survival
ghetto,
living,
but like little tricks that you learn in jail. Just like how to like get the most life out of a pencil, or like I remember writing in my letters with like a little nub of because a pencil, another pencil is like $75 on commissary. And then at the end of it, when you're walking out the door, they're like, here's your bill. Like, like, what? I was paying for this shit too.
Oh man, I was stuck with 12 grand after 6 months in county jail for marijuana charges. 12 grand. I paid it down to 2.5. I still owe.
Oh,
I'm still paying this. Some 8 years later, I'm still trying to make the wreckage of my life right, just so I can be at zero and move forward.
I worked mine off when I was in jail.
Well,
I just let them turn me out. No, I'm just kidding. I cleaned up piss and shit while I was in there, and puke. I'm the gray worker.
Right. I did some in jail worker stuff. Ideally, just so I got fed a bit better.
Yeah, and that was. Yeah, there was perks to doing that, but
it was still awful because your people didn't really respect you. It's like you're trying to help create something. And people treat you like you're trying to be better than them. And try to remind you real quick, we're all in the same jail, which was very defeating. Like, why do I want to keep having this guard come bang on my? There was a couple guards at Polk County that were just so obnoxious. The one would come.
Cole?
Huh?
Cole?
I don't want to say names on the internet.
Oh, everybody knows them.
But the one would come bang on the thing like, hey, you got a meeting today. If you don't want it, don't bother getting up. If you don't want to be here, come sign the paper, guy. And it was like, what is your problem, man? Do you treat people that way all the time? Well, I guess guards and cops, they're all taught to not be human towards the other humans they're
Well, it's the training they get, but it's the fact that, have you not noticed, like, most cops are those people in grade school and high school. Those are the people that I was picking on and punking, and like they just they got picked on in high school, and they never, so they became police officers, and now they have this position of authority, and they get off on it. Like, why else would a cop? I mean, literally, these sometimes you get pulled over by a cop, and they literally will ruin your life. Like this chick I know, she got pulled over and she had an empty cartridge in her car. It was empty. Yet, and she had, empty. She wasn't under the influence or anything. The police officer took the empty cartridge and had it tested. She's looking at a felony charge for it. It was an empty cartridge, for God's sakes. He found it in her car on a search that he didn't even really, like, she let him search. She's a nurse, so not anymore, not with a felony charge.
Conviction.
It's
right.
And it's an empty cartridge.
That's awful. That's just awful.
I
think
you got to be really sick.
There's
to
multiple
do that
problems from my layman's perspective, not a part of the law enforcement community at all. I've lived partially on the other side. I think there's a lot of problems from my perspective in the modern day policing, law enforcement community.
The
idea,
system might be broken.
The system. There's a lot of, I think, policing for profit that takes place. I think it happens on both a local and federal level.
Look at the end of the month when they're all speed trapping everybody, filling their quotas.
I'd say seizures of
I gotta look
property,
at my phone for a second.
Forfeitures.
So, what did? Yeah. So
on
on
that,
that,
supposed to be no phone.
I know. I just said I gotta look at my phone for 1 second. You'll understand why.
That might be the cut of the conversation.
Hold on. Just let me hear this. I'm telling you. Watch. It's because I was talking with someone earlier who's saying exactly what you're saying. Is she's talking about where her work line of work that she's in, healthcare. Same things she's talking about too. She says it's absolutely broken.
Yeah.
And she's been in it 20
Well,
plus
when
years.
systems become too large, corruption invariably comes in because they're too big. There's just too many moving parts for any human or computer to keep track of, and that's not the way we can structure society. It has to be in much smaller segments, local communities that act as their own entities, all under the same banner. I mean, we don't want to be warring with each other, but really understanding what's right for each what's right for each area.
It's too late for all that. We just need a stronger variant.
Well, that could come too. I think we're at a good stopping point.
I thought
we carried on. One idea of the conversation is there's no phones. A phone came in. That's the point when life comes back.
We made it like 15 minutes without touching my phone. That's pretty good.
Well, right. Life comes back.
Can I watch porn now?
And so we'll go ahead and we'll call that, the end. And we'll see what we end up with. I'm going to do my best to
do your thing, bud.
Turn this into some kind of cohesive vision.
My hair today.
I'm loving your hair today. Normally you got it pulled back, and today it looks pretty wild.
I thought I did it for you, Bill.
Well, thank you. Everybody, this has been Bill Knapp with Mike Valento here on The Conversation in the Bleak Ride Studios. And I think that's all we got for you today.
Adios. Peace. Fucking Bill.